What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Knicks Deli, everybody. I want to welcome you back. Yeah, this is going to be a quick live, and it's rare that I go live, but I am tonight. The New York Knicks, baby. We are talking the New York Knicks getting a first game against the semifinal, against the world champion Boston Celtics. I love it. I'm here for it. Let's talk about it here at Knicks Deli. If you're here visiting Knicks Deli for the first time, I want to welcome you in. I'm your host here, and I want to let you know there are 4 items that are on the menu. First item on the menu is the bacon, egg, and cheese. So we're going to go over that today. Bacon, egg, and cheese is a phenomenal sandwich in New York, anywhere, but New York has made it famous. And that's when there's 3 ingredients that makes that sandwich off the chain. So we're going to talk about who are the 3 players as part of this game that made this thing off the chain and helped us secure this victory. Next item on the menu is the dollar slice. New York has the best pizza in the world. So we're going to talk about who's the dollar slice of the game, who brought about that stability that really helped us get over the top. And the next item on the menu is the chopped cheese. Now, the chopped cheese is relatively new to that New York menu, but that thing be buzzing. So we're going to talk about who's the chopped cheese of the game. And lastly, you can't have the dollar slice. You can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can't have the chopped cheese if you ain't got nothing to wash that thing down with. And here in Knicks Deli, we call it the quarter water of the game. So we're going to talk about who's the quarter water of the game. Who is that player, whether it's in a little bit in one quarter or a little bit over a period of all the quarters that helped us secure this victory. Once again, this is going to be a micro flash session. So I plan on being on here for about 20 minutes, but I got to get on here and talk about our boys because there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of people doubting, and I rarely go live. But this is a little treat because it's a special occasion, so we're going to talk about it. Look, I could possibly do this whole video and y'all don't hear me. So throw your ones in the chat. If you hear me clearly, I have the headphones set up, so it may be a little bit off aside from my microphone, but we're going to dive in. So, great win last night. I loved doing it at this time because it gave me an opportunity to watch other channels. It gave me an opportunity to watch the media to see how they're talking about us, whether or not they call it a fluke, whether or not they were just like, it was about Boston missing shots as opposed to the New York Knicks pulling out this victory. And guess what? I don't care. We don't care. We don't care what they say, okay? We can absolutely care less about what it is they talking. Absolutely care less about it. But I'll tell you this much. We're here for it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about really what got us this victory. First off, we never quit. Secondly, Tom Thibodeau came in with a game plan, and our team carried it out. Third, the Boston Celtics tried to bury us. They absolutely tried to bury us, and it didn't work. It may have worked in the regular season, but them bombing threes, it didn't work. And next, and the title of this actual live is that versatility killed the Boston Celtics. The New York Knicks, having players who are versatile and having size on the front line, that versatility really bothered the Boston Celtics. And I think that is going to be a formula that works for us for the remainder of this series. So let's dive right in. Who gets the bacon, egg, and cheese? The first person who gets the bacon is Tom Motherflippin' Thibodeau. Y'all better talk to me. I hear the hate. You know the New York Knicks hear the hate. Everybody wants to fire Tom Thibodeau as if this dude is Derek Fisher. Do you remember Derek Fisher? Come on. Tom Thibodeau showed up and showed out last night. Couple of things that stood out to me. He had a solid game plan defensively. Tom Thibodeau had a solid game plan defensively. Now, obviously, the Boston Celtics missed shots that they typically would make. Obviously, Kristaps Porzingis fell ill. He wasn't in there, and that's part of the game, the game plan that the Celtics have, obviously. But we can't control what happens on the other side of the ball. We can only control whether or not we are disciplined with what it is that we're doing. And Tom Thibodeau had those boys ready. One of the biggest things people don't consider They will always point at the regular season record. And that I always tell people, don't focus on the regular season record when you are in the playoffs and you have an opportunity to pregame and plan and watch tape on the same team 4 to 7 times. That's when coaches who've been doing this for a while stand out. And we have that coach at the helm. So Tom Thibodeau showed up and showed out. He had a solid game plan. He had a great use of timeouts during the game. I love that. It helped us win the game first and foremost. And then coming out of one timeout, the man had an opportunity actually to design a great out-of-bounds play. Unfortunately, a shot that Jalen Brunson hits 1,000,003 times during the season, he was slightly off and it sent us into overtime. But Tom Thibodeau was in his bag last night, which is why he gets the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese here in Knicks Deli. Not to mention, we've just completed our third 50-win season with Tom Thibodeau. Everybody's trying to push him off the plank. I say back up off Thibs. He gets the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese today. Who gets the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese today? And the egg goes to our guy, Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges is another one who was looking for that apology form. Mikal Bridges is another one who was asking, what do y'all got to say about those picks now? What I love about this team is all of them are experienced. He pointed it out. He had experience making it far while he was in Phoenix. Brunson had experience making it far when he was in Dallas. Everybody on our team brings a certain level of experience, so they knew not to get rattled. They knew right away not to get rattled, and they stuck with it. Mikal Bridges he played with an edge, and I think that's something he's going to keep with him. This is his first season with the New York Knicks. He is still trying to find where his fit is, where his groove is on a team that is versatile. I talked about that. Many of the players on the team have a lot of similar skill sets, whether they can put the ball on the floor, whether they slash, whether they're a two-way play, they play defense. All of those things you have to figure out where you fit and when it's the right time to step forward, okay? We're facing a team like Boston who's had their core for a number of years. They've just incrementally added pieces. So that's where the New York Knicks are. You know what I mean? But Mikal Bridges last night, he tried to shut people up, and he did. A couple of great plays. He was active both offensively and defensively. It seemed like he was playing like he had something to prove. And I love the fact that he did it in crucial moments, and he did it on the defensive end. And he had a couple of the critical steals / strips where he just muscled the ball out of the opponent's hand. And it was almost like payback in an orange and blue jersey for Kevin Knox. I remember when Zion punked Knox by snatching the rebound from him in preseason. Well, or in summer league, it was that get back that Mikal Bridges did. So that's why he gets the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese. Do me a favor, put your ones in the chat if you could hear me, because I'm going to do this whole video. It's going to be about 20 minutes, and I don't care if I'm on mute. Then I see that people are in the chat just listening to me on mute, and apparently y'all read lips, okay? So do me a favor, like this video, but also put your ones in the chat if you can hear what I'm saying. Lastly, who gets the cheese of the bacon, egg, and cheese here in Knicks Deli, baby? And the cheese goes to our guy, Captain Clutch, the Brundertaker, Jalen Brunson. Listen, Knicks fans, I was talking to a colleague of mine and a friend of mine as well, and I was telling them, at what point do we start realizing we have one of the top 8 players in this league on our team at the guard position? If you're a fan like me during the time that I came up in the 90s, I always dreamed, our star and our Hall of Famer was a big man. It was Patrick. And we know, Patrick dominated in his way during that time. But the people that were winning championships were guards. Michael Jordan was dominating at the guard position. And I always would wonder, damn, what is it like having a guard as your superstar on the team? What is it like to have a guard who a lot of other teams hate to see come into the arena because he's so clutch and he's cold-blooded? Well, we have that in New York. We have that right now, and I really think a lot of Knicks fans, we move about as if we don't. We move about as if Josh Hart, and no shade to Josh Hart, but we're moving about as if Josh Hart is our number 1 player. whereas he may have a night here where he's doing this or that. He may score, he may not. But that's the type of confident energy that we have as if Josh Hart's our player and Jalen Brunson is not. We need to move with more confidence. We got the most clutch player in the NBA. We got the player that a lot of opposing point guards look at and be like, yo, he cold-blooded. So we need to start moving like we got that type of mother flipper on our team. And Jalen Brunson moves that way. The man had 29 points, 5 assists, back-to-back threes. Yo, he is cold-blooded. He's in the belly of the beast in Boston, shut down Detroit and all that noise. Right now he's doing this, and the effort that we put forth will be against the world champions. If the New York Knicks win this series, what type of statement does that make? What type of statement does that make if we win this series and we move on to the next? Okay? If ultimately we go and win the championship, no other team can say they beat the champion to become the champion. In order to beat a man, you have to beat the man. And if we win this series, we will have beaten the man. Okay? So I love that. So shout out to the cheese of the bacon, egg, and cheese here at Knicks Deli. Jalen mother flipping Brunson. Do me a favor once again, put your ones in the chat if you can hear me. Up next on the menu here at Knicks Deli is the dollar slice. Once again, everybody knows New York got the best pizza in the world. So who gets the dollar slice of the game? Dollar slice goes to OG Anunoby. OG mother flipping Anunoby. Before this game, I was talking to my people, my fellow Knicks fans, and I was just like, damn, what's going to take the win? I'm like, yo, we need OG to step up. OG had that stretch when Jalen Brunson was down towards the end of the season, where he came in and he started playing like he was Scottie Pippen. He started playing like he was Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James. And we knew he had that capability. And he did that on purpose. He knew Brunson is out. This is the opportunity for me to show what I can do, especially before the playoffs. He can turn it on. And he's also cold-blooded. And he did so also to the tune of 29 points, 4 rebounds. The man had that steel dunk that would have taken the roof off in Madison Square Garden. And he got the and one. So if you ask me, OG Anunoby is definitely going to be an X factor in this series. Once again, our versatility may kill the Boston Celtics, because if Brunson is on and they try to lock him down, then you have OG. OG is on and they try to lock him down, then we need Cat to step up. And actually, that's who's going to get the chopped cheese of the game. Chopped cheese is relatively new to that New York menu, but that thing be busting. So everybody will look at Cat and be like, all right, he didn't show up yet as we want him to in these playoffs. He had 14 points. He had 13 rebounds once again. But what I love about Cat being on this team is we have multiple scorers. Once again, Knicks fans, y'all are expecting Cat to perform as if he's been here for like 4 or 5 years with this core. Obviously, he's supposed to be our second superstar. So, we want to see him in those moments where he steps up. I think he will have opportunities for that. But right now, what we need board work. We need defense. We need him to pick up his defense a little bit more. And we need at least 25 from him. Right now he has the luxury of other people picking up that slack. But this series is going to be telling. We're not going to win this series with Cat putting forth a minimum effort and minimum output in production. So the chopped cheese of the game goes to Karl Anthony Towns, but we absolutely need him to show up more than he has. All right? And who gets the quarter water of the game? The quarter water of the game goes to our guy, Deuce mother flipping McBride. Deuce showed up, okay? He was a little bit absent and invisible in the Detroit series, but he came up right on time with big-time shots in this series. We need something from everybody in this series against Detroit. Absolutely everybody. Because Boston had an off night. Boston absolutely had an off night, but that has nothing to do with us. Our job is to take advantage, and we did. But when that boy Pritchard, their bench start getting rolling, we need to make sure we match that energy. We need to make sure we match that production. So Deuce had dropped 11 points on him, and that's exactly what we need. We need scoring from unexpected places. So Deuce definitely deserves the quarter water of the game for his contribution incrementally throughout. And lastly on the menu, before I tie it up and summarize, is the glizzy of the game. Now, the glizzy of the game has to go to somebody who we look at and we're like, yo, we want them to shut the F up. But I can't just kick them out of the deli, baby, because everybody eats here at Knicks Deli. So we give that person the glizzy of the game. And the glizzy of the game is going to go to all of the haters. Glizzy of the game is going to go to all of the haters. Knicks fans, y'all see how many people are against us? Do you see, whether you're looking at the media the day after, a great win, a surprising win, do you see that the media still refuses to give us credit? They refuse to give us credit. They know that Knicks fans are watching so that they can say they were wrong or they were a little bit off or this may actually be a competitive series or whatever have you. They knew all the eyes were on the screen to hear them say that. And they didn't give you what you wanted, which is why you're here, which is why this movement on YouTube happened. Because the media thought that they could hold Knicks fans hostage because that's the only place that you could hopefully grovel for good, good perspectives on the New York Knicks. New York Knicks fans was like, F that. We're going to create our own media, which is why we're here. But I want to tell you this, Knicks fans, because many of you doubted your Knicks. Many of you continue to be critical of Tom Thibodeau. It's okay to be critical of Tom Thibodeau, but he is your coach until he's not. And a lot of us are like, well, what will happen if, when we move on from Thibs? Yo, season ain't even over yet. This man won you 3 straight 50-win seasons. Many of y'all act like y'all don't remember Isaiah Thomas years, Derek Fisher years. Many of you still sitting there like, oh man, I wish we had DiVincenzo. Bruh, you know what I mean? We're in the second round. We're in the second round right now facing the champs, and we just got the first win. And a lot of y'all are looking backwards like, yo, bro, stay present, stay focused, stay here, okay? We can't afford to be fractured. You could criticize your team, you could talk about what we need to work on. Many of y'all be like just glazing, bro. Stay here, stay home. Once the playoffs are over, then, dissect your team. But if we see it, you already see that the players see it. Josh Hart is sending these cryptic tweets. Like, yeah, we heard all, whatever. But pay attention to Josh Hart's Twitter account. The man is hopping on Twitter in the middle of the playoffs. Basically, he's quoted by saying, yo, rock with us. There's enough people in this world who are against us. There's enough media and opposing fans who are against us. The last thing we need is for Knicks fans to be against us. So Knicks fans, you're going to hold part of this glizzy of the game. The other side are Celtics fans. Yeah, some of y'all are going to be viewing my live tomorrow because listen, Knicks fans, they be in my chat, they be in my comment section, they be commenting and sectioning, they be in my comment section, and they were going crazy. I created a couple of videos like, yo, here's how the Knicks can win, and here's some things they can do. They were calling me delusional. They were saying Knicks fans are always delusional. You're going to take this L. It's going to be a gentleman's sweep. It's going to be a full sweep. They were talking, they talk. They were talking, they talk. And that's the reason I created multiple videos. Because if I'm being honest, I don't know how many of these wins we're going to get. So, of course, I'm going to talk my talk as a Knicks fan. But, damn, what happened? We actually got a victory. Yo, I circled the block and I spun the block on them. I was on Boston chat pages responding like, yeah, what now? What was you talking? What was you saying? What was you saying? There was just like, y'all got lucky. Y'all got lucky. Listen, man, we can't afford to be spending our time criticizing anybody on this team when we got so many people putting a bullet on us. Nobody wants to see New York win. Nobody wants to see New York win. Nobody wants to see New York get a one win. All these players, former players with podcasts, nobody likes New York. Most of these stars don't come from New York. They come from other parts of the country. And when they're coming from other parts of the country, there's that anti-New York bias. Only time you see people who give big ups a big pride, I don't even know. Now, I think Perk is from the South somewhere. But we leaning on Perk, somebody who's a former Boston player. Yo, Knicks fans, stay with your team. But Celtic fans, y'all can eat a dick. I'm sorry. This is Knicks Deli. I'm sorry. Glizzy of the game goes to Celtics fans. All right? And here are my parting thoughts, man. Brief video. Like I said, I wanted to keep this to 20 minutes. Yo, we shocked a lot of people. But we putting that behind us. I wanted to get this video really before the end of the day to close it out. Keep up the great work, Knicks fans. Keep the pressure on these ops. You know, keep putting out good content. It's absolutely a right to criticize your players. Stop trying to fire Thibs though, like after a game or for the rest of the run. It's okay to be like, all right, you know, because honestly, if I'm being honest with you, the New York Knicks are not going to fire Tom Thibodeau. If anything, they're going to promote him. If they look at Tom Thibodeau with the players that they have now, and once again, I think they're still going to make a move at the end of this season, depending on how far we go. If we win it, they ain't touching it. They're going to tweak. They're going to add some of New York seasoning on it, couple of moves, and they're going to run it back. But if we fall short in this round or the next, and we don't get to where it is we want to go, then I think the New York Knicks will make another move. But if they look at it and say coaching has taken us as far as it can, they're not firing Tom Thibodeau. They're going to promote him to the front office. Then they're going to look to bring somebody in. If you ask me, and I will be making a video about this, if they choose to go that route and make like Tom Thibodeau, let's say a general manager or something along those lines, I think they will bring in Jay Wright. I think they will bring in Jay Wright as the next coach of the New York Knicks if Tom Thibodeau is promoted and he's no longer the coach. I think Jay Wright knows these players. I think he also brings that fresh perspective. He will bring offensives or components to the offense that this current group is familiar with. And I think he is the fresh vision, face, and voice that can lead us into the next chapter of where we want to go. Okay? But needless to say, that's not our concern right now. Tom Thibodeau, I want to win a chip for Tom Thibodeau. If we win a chip in New York with Tom Thibodeau was the coach that turned this thing around. We were terrible. He got to get something for that. We trying to discard him with the work. We trying to Mark Jackson him. We're really trying to Mark Jackson him. Mark Jackson's name isn't really in the Hall of Fame. And he should, because he gave the confidence to two of the best shooters in NBA history. And they discarded him and brought in somebody else to draw across the line a team that he was already going to have break the tape and win a championship. Now, I don't know all the behind-the-scenes stuff that took place, but y'all trying to Mark Jackson Tom Thibodeau. Let that man rock. I mean, he cooked the meal. Let him see it through. He did the shopping. He did the preparing. Let's see him carry it through. But once again, the New York Knicks front office, they too cool with him. They established the culture. They're not going to fire him. They'll promote him, and hopefully they'll bring in a player or coach like Jay Wright, who's familiar with the squad, and I think can take them to the promised land because he did in college. So I think that is my go-to. You're going to see me drop a couple of videos, really kind of recommending that Jay Wright be the successor if they decide to move on and Tom Thibodeau can't get them past the finish line. All right? So those are my parting thoughts. If we lose game 2, don't crash out. If we lose game 2, don't crash out. The New York Knicks pretty much did the job. If you're going into the ops house, you want to split. So we're playing with house money. We're going to leave, I think, 2-0. And if we leave 2-0, their confidence is done. If we win the second game, the Boston confidence is done. Their fans' confidence is done. Their team is going to have the wind taken out of their sails. And this team with Brunson and Josh Hart, like they have that attitude. They have that type of swagger to go in and snatch the heart out of those opponents. And if we do, we send in a message to the league. All right? So throw your ones in the chat if you agree with me. Put your suggestions in the chat. Like, you think we're going to get this second win in Boston? And what do you think we need to do to make sure we do so? All right? Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. there's no struggle, there's no progress. But remember this, whether it's out there in the real world or here in these YouTube streets, here in Knicks Deli, everybody eats. I'm your boy, Shia, and I am out. Peace.